Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA in Louisiana, and I wanted to talk to y'all about how to sync Gusto with your accounting platform. And I debated for a minute on the title of this video because it's not really like a how-to. I'm not gonna walk through the steps and show you how to sync Gusto to QuickBooks or Puzzle or Digits or Xero or whatever accounting platform you're using. I think I want to take this from a more technical standpoint because there's 100 guides out there on how to hook these two platforms up so they talk to each other. You just put your user credentials in, maybe a firm ID, and you hit go. And then they talk to one another, you map some accounts. The end, right? That's not what I'm after, okay? Most people seem to think that if they have a payroll platform provider, like Gusto for instance, they're good. All the data will get pushed over to their profit and loss. We can see exactly how much we spent on labor and the employer portion of payroll taxes and the municipality taxes, stuff like that, right? It's not the case. A lot of times your accounting platform and Gusto will clash and they will, maybe have broken links and stuff like that. That's also not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those fine details that maybe a bookkeeper wouldn't catch, or maybe a staff accountant wouldn't catch, or maybe a founder wouldn't catch it. How you can get around something like that so that you have accurate books, something that a CPA or director of finance or a CFO would be able to recognize pretty easily. And so that's what I want to talk about. You're not going to get a step-by-step guide in this video. I don't even have my normal software up behind me. I'm actually just having a conversation today. So what are some of the things we need to look for when we're connecting these two systems and making them talk, and how can we prevent that? That's what I want to talk about today. And so the first thing I want to get across is granularity. So in a lot of profit and losses that I've looked at, there are two lines, typically like labor and wages, labor expense, and then employer portion of payroll taxes. This is the stuff that the employer has to pay that is an expense. The problem with that is there's no detail there. If you have multiple departments, maybe you've got marketing, you've got sales, you've got engineering, you've got management. How do we know how much I'm spending on sales? Is what I'm paying my sales team worth what they're bringing in? Do I need to do a reduction in force? Do I need to trim my marketing spend because I'm spending just an excessive amount in marketing? That's great. Gusto you can set up your employees to where they're tagged to these certain dimensions, and you can run a report out of Gusto, but why would you want to do double duty? Shouldn't you be able to see that in your accounting platform, right? You pull a profit and loss, and it just has a bunch of subledgers, drop downs that say marketing, engineering, sales. Now you know what you spent, and it's readily available. It's that easy. But a lot of that granularity gets lost depending on the accounting system you have, how everything is mapped. And so to get an accurate picture, you need to break that down. If you've got 20 employees and the accounting software is only saying, okay, you're spending $150,000 of payroll every 2 weeks, you can't see what it's for. And so if you're tracking things like burn rate, runway, stuff like that, and you're trying to do model scenarios, you are making it very, very difficult on yourself. And so by the time someone manually splits this up, someone who has access to the payroll system, there's not a lot of them, they're probably pretty busy, your data's old and it's out of date. And so a fast-moving company with 21-day-old data, that can get you in trouble. So make sure you have a platform that can do that for you. And a lot of these newer ones, like Puzzle, for instance, that use AI, they have natural integrations with platforms like Gusto, Brex, Ramp, Mercury, tons of different bank accounts, stuff like that. They can do that pretty seamlessly. So consider that whenever you're trying to figure out how you want to set up your accounting platform. The next one I want to talk about, and this one just kills me because I'm a CPA, I deal with it day in and day out. I understand it. I don't understand why other people don't understand it. And I have to keep explaining it, and I will shout it from the rooftops until everyone understands it, is accruals. So, most companies, founders, people who aren't familiar with finance, they're gonna do cash basis accounting, which is wrong. It's wrong. Basically, cash basis of accounting is what came into the bank, what left the bank. Okay, I'm gonna run my books off that. That's not right. You can have revenue that you've earned that hasn't hit your bank yet. You've invoiced for it. Customer has received the goods. Everything's good. You just haven't been paid. That's still revenue. You did what you were supposed to do. You need to recognize that revenue. And so the same thing can be said for expenses. Payroll expenses specifically. So, if you're running payroll on January 3rd and your pay cycle is every 2 weeks, you need to have, what is that, 12 out of 14 days accrued. You owe your employees X $100,000 for the time that they worked. And if your accounting platform is only watching when the funds leave the bank account and it's not doing accruals, you could have materially misstated financials. It's that simple. Like, you owe the money, it's owed to your employees. You need to accrue the expense at month end or year end so you can see where you actually stand. Value has been delivered from your employees, you must pay them for it. And if you're doing cash basis or your accounting software is relatively simple, it's just looking for that outflow to match from the bank feed to those GL accounts, it's wrong. It's wrong. And as a CPA, accrual accounting comes naturally to me. I understand it's very confusing and difficult for some people to understand. We need to make sure that we're showcasing the full health of our company, that we're showcasing all the expenses that have been incurred. And that's a pretty low-hanging fruit to take advantage of. And once again, Gusto has the ability to push that data, but your accounting platform has to be able to recognize it and not just be looking for information from the bank feed. And so a very smart accounting platform that's AI-centric can do that, as long as everything is mapped and set up correctly, okay? So once again, pretty easy fix. Use a strong accounting platform. I know Puzzle can do it. I would imagine that a lot of these other newer platforms can do it as well. I would be surprised if they couldn't. Otherwise, just make a journal entry at the end of the month and do a small work paper in Excel and say, oh, this is what we owe our employees through this date. Make the journal entry, put it on your profit and loss as an accrued expense, and then back it out whenever you run payroll, okay? Pretty easy. Okay, so the next thing, benefits and taxes. I think Gusto does a really good job of doing like some light HR management. It runs the employer and employee portion of taxes very, very well. Same for benefits. I think it's a really good platform, but you don't want that data that's using to run those to be siloed. You want it in your accounting software so that, if you have a holding account, that's an asset. If Gusto is holding that money and it left your bank account, you have a holding account to pay these 401ks, to pay your health insurance premiums. That is an asset and it needs to be recognized. You're underselling yourself, you're understating your assets if you don't have those types of accounts mapped. And so if you can't recognize those specific subcategories, bye. You lost the money, I guess. Like your balance sheet is going to be misstated and probably not materially misstated, but misstated to a point to where it's enough to where I would care about it if I caught it. And so just make sure that Gusto, when it's integrated with your accounting platform, that it can do that. Payroll taxes, employer and employee paid. A basic sync can fail to distinguish between the two. You want to make sure that you're not just lumping all the expenses that you're paying to the state, that you're paying to the Fed, that you're paying to the municipality, that you see leaving your bank account. That is not all an employer expense. Your employee has earned a portion of that money. It's counted in their salary expense. You want to make sure you're not doubling up on what you paid out, because a portion of that is covered by the employee. You're just sending it to the state on their behalf. And that gets lost a lot. Like I said, this is complicated stuff. It's a technical topic, and that's why I wanted to sit down and talk through it, because a lot of it can be washed away if you use a good platform. Pick a good platform that will make a lot of the pain go away and life will be easier. I cannot overstate that enough. And so if you're running at, if your employer portion of payroll tax is being mixed in with the employee portion, you're going to have a heavier labor cost burden. And so that makes it really difficult to price jobs. And I see that a lot in the construction industry. GCs don't know what their labor burden is, so they're underbidding jobs, they're winning jobs, and they're not making any money, and they don't understand why. It's because they don't know what the true cost of their employee is. Or on the flip side, they're doubling up and they're saying, oh, this is all labor burden, and now they're bidding jobs and their overhead is too high, their labor burden is too high, and now they can't win any jobs, and so they're not making any money. You have to have accurate numbers for things like this. I cannot overstate that enough. Use a good platform. A lot of them are capable of doing this at a rudimentary level. Once again, I'm going to focus on some of these newer ones that I like to pitch. I know Puzzle can do it. Digits can do a good job. QuickBooks can do it if you're okay with spreadsheets. Xero can do it if you're okay with spreadsheets. And if you're okay with setting up charts of accounts and mapping rules and stuff like that. So try and pick one that's going to do away with a lot of that so you don't have to do that type of legwork. Because those legacy platforms I just talked about, they're basically simple syncs. You know, they're going to say, okay, you spent $100,000 on payroll. Gusto's going to, if it has a link to your QuickBooks, it'll see that $100,000 when it leaves the bank account. And then QuickBooks will say, okay, Gusto says this is labor, this is employer portion of payroll tax. And then it might set up a couple liability accounts and a holding account if you have it mapped correctly, but you have to check for that. I prefer to let autonomy run, you know, make sure you understand and that you are reviewing occasionally, but it saves time, it saves energy. And so that's why, like, I'm a really big fan of pitching anything that's can be AI powered and automated away. I know that's scary. I'm not saying it's going to replace like accountants or bookkeepers' jobs, but you need to get comfortable using these systems because the ones who don't are probably going to be left behind because your peers can perform faster. They can do more work more efficiently with less stress and headache. So I know this was a technical topic and it really kind of was a misnomer on me saying, well, how do you sync Gusto with your accounting platform? Now, this is the issues that Gusto can create with your accounting platform. The friction that can show up if you don't have a good platform synced with it, if you don't do the mapping. These are the things that you need to look out for and how a good platform can get rid of that friction. So anyway, I'm sorry if I sold you a lie, but I still think it's important and I couldn't come up with a better way to like broadcast this message. So I hope you guys learned something. Hope you understand a little bit better. If you don't, call a CPA. Call somebody with some experience, call a CFO, call a director of finance, get a controller, get someone who understands this because you can materially misstate your financials and that is just not something that you can afford if you are running a business. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching.